Oh, that's that. Can you see that over there? That's that shirt. That's the shirt I wore to the Sensation opening in New York. So I had a tie on the front, okay? I'm wearing a tie in the front. And this is what's written on the back, the First Amendment of the Constitution. And in the same letters, the letters that say "Fuck Rudy" at the top there, they're painted in brown and outlined in yellow. Okay? And that's the First Amendment of the Constitution of the United States. And this was the Sensation exhibit, which to me is a real 0 point. I don't know if you're familiar, but this happened in October of 1999 in New York City, and New York City was pregnant because of the 2000 thing. Many people have said the 20th century ended in like 94. The death of art was written in 94. The end of the century pieces were being written all through the 90s. And it had this feeling of like, all right, happened already, 2000. And so the touring show paid for by Saatchi and Co. Of young British artists, which included, it was this flashy show of the hottest British artists that was at the Brooklyn Museum of Art. And there was a painting made by Chris O'Philly, Nigerian-born British artist Chris O'Philly. It was a Madonna, and it was textured and made with bright colors and earth tones, colors, and so on. And one of the materials used was elephant dung, which is a material used in many places, India for sure, but there, Nigeria, where he's from. And Rudy Giuliani took offense as the mayor and tried to censor and stop the show from happening. From the position of mayor of New York, tried to say, no, that show can't happen because Madonna's made out of elephant dung there. No context, no comprehension, no whatever. Out of the, And this was pre 9/11 when the USA was awesome and it was cool to stand up for, free speech. And I still do it now, obviously, but that's how I dressed. I had a tie on and that collared shirt, and I was walking through the thing. But on my back was the First Amendment of the Constitution and "Fuck Rudy." And I went through and saw the whole exhibition that way on the at the opening. I remember people grabbing my elbow and me not turning around. I was with, that would have been 99 October. I can't remember who I was with. I do remember that I wrote about that moment as being the end of postmodernism. I wrote that after the towers fell, because I thought the towers and the attacks would come to symbolize the end of postmodernism, and that would be wrong. The end of postmodernism is when the mayor of New York tells a huge museum they can't show something because, quote, if I can do it, it's not art. That's what he said. I mean, that to me is the precise moment of the end of postmodernism. And I wrote about it specifically after 9/11. M.T. Karthik. We could find that. I think that's probably handy. There's a typo in it that really makes me nuts. That's the only problem with this thing. I was using the typewriter in the studio. So much of this is about printing with the typewriter. So these things are documents, and I wrote it 5 times, and I sent it to 4 other people, and I kept 1 for myself. And I think I have a copy here. Oh wow, look, there's some things in here. This is called The Rehearsal from 2009. Sometimes paint spills, and when it spills, I do drawings with it. There's like a mouse lady or a lady with her hair tied up and a guy across her. the waist there. Trying to find this thing that relates to that show. Ah, here it is. The exact end of postmodernism. Okay, so I typewrote this 5 times. Each time typing it, right? So there's 5 of these, and this is the 3rd of the 5, okay? The exact end of postmodernism. Postmodernism, an art movement of European abstraction that spread to literature and flourished in commercial quarters of the entertainment sector, did not end on 11th September 2001. Postmodernism was authored in correspondence between R. Creeley and C. Olson of the Black Mountain School of Thought in October of 1951. That's in a letter. I'm talking about American postmodernism here. Postmodernism ended in October of 1999. So I'm saying that it was authored in October of 1951 in this letter from Creeley to Olson, I believe. And it ended in October 1999 with the following utterance by R. Giuliani from the public pulpit of his position as the 107th mayor of New York. Quote, "Here's how I know if something is art. If I can do it, it's not art." Close quote. This grants postmodernism the respectable age of 48 years upon its death. A generous figure, given the very deep encroachment the movement endured due to commercial uglification here in the United States of America at the hands of the sensational American economic model. M.M. was a nothing. That's the millennium. 2 M's. M.M. was a nothing. October 1999, when this happened, to 11 September 2001, shall forever be a no-person's land in cultural terms. Mafias of all stripes protected the Christians and helped them parade their millennium to legitimize their religion, a fantasy, and to institutionalize its sense of time. The new era began between 0700 and 10:30 Eastern Daylight Time U.S., 11 September 01, and I firmly believe that the authors of the dawning act, save the architect M. Yamasaki, are dead or impossible to find. That is the state of the game. M.T. Karthik, Brooklyn, New York, 30th November 2001. The exact end of postmodernism. On the AntiClimactic NonShow, with your host,